Okay, let us call this meeting to order. Good morning, board members, staff, public, everybody. Great to have you with us. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, etc. Good to have you with us here, and I want to welcome, I'm not sure if they're all with us, but joining our board in voting yesterday in our leadership elections, our new members, Amanda Bollinger, Cole Kelly, Rod Hall, and Joanne Brinton. And we look forward to them joining us as official members shortly. Last night they participated in board elections, and so for those who didn't follow, and for the public, Matt Hymas will be our new chair, starting in January with Molly Hart and Leanne Wood as vice chairs. And so congratulations to them, and we all wish them well and carrying forward those responsibilities. So thank you all for participating. Thanks for being here. And we'll get started. We've got our Highway Patrol joining as always, Chris Horrocks and Security Devin Booth. In the event of an emergency, got two doors out here, either side, turn right or left. And let's do a roll call. Check who's with us. We've got Member Reel, Member Booth, here. Member Bogus, here. Member Klein. I've heard Member Klein was online. We will come back. Member Davis. Here. Member Green. Here. Member Carey. Here. Member Wood. Yes. Member Hymas. Here. Member Lear. Yes. Member Norton. Here. Member Straight. Here. Vice Chair Earl. Here. Vice Chair Hart. Here. And I am here. Back to Member Klein. Are you with us online?
Yes, I am here.
Okay. All right. We are all here. Let us get going with the Pledge of Allegiance, and we've asked Member Kristen Norton to lead us in the pledge.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Member Norton. And we will turn for our board member message to Member Cindy Davis. No worries.
Good morning. I have our welcome message this morning, and due to about 5 different reasons, I did not trust myself to be able to get through it emotionally. So this is a tender day for me, and these are tender topics for me. So I recorded my welcome message. Please forgive me if you wanted it live, but I felt like this would be the best way to proceed forward. And I just want to say welcome, everybody. Welcome who's here visiting, and welcome to our board members and staff. And it's great to see you all. Also, we're having technical difficulties, so the sound is not working. So our awesome Kelsey is going to put her microphone by her computer, and we're going to hope that this works. And if not, we're going to abort the video, and I will just go for it live.
Do you need a minute, Kelsey, or are you ready to give it a shot, or do you need a minute?
I'm good.
Because we can open the floor to songs. I'm sure we got a couple folks that'll give us a Christmas song if you need a minute.
No,
Okay.
They have this problem.
You don't
often.
want that? All right.
So, okay.
Welcome to our last meeting of 2024, board members. One of you recently asked me, why are you on the board? What are you passionate about? I know this member is passionate about math. I know this member is passionate about the Constitution. Why are you here? And I thought about this and thought, I've been here for 6 years. If people don't know why I'm here, I better do something to make it clear. So I'm going to share a few things that I'm passionate about today. And the most important really is that I'm passionate about a system of schools that invites all children into its doors, regardless of financial ability or academic ability or background or anything. I am passionate about a school and teachers that help students to become who the students want to become. I'm passionate about opportunities for students to get the skills and opportunities that they need so that they can eventually become self-reliant and that they can obtain and keep family-sustaining jobs. That is what I'm passionate about. I loved going to Boston and standing where we had one of the very first, well, was the very first public school. I stood, there's just a mosaic there now, here's a picture, and there's also a statue of Benjamin Franklin in the background there, you can see. But I thought it was so wonderful that some of our founding fathers attended that very first public school. 5, in fact, who signed the Declaration of Independence attended that school. And I think about, them signing for independence politically, and an education helps each of us obtain independence personally. And I'm grateful to be a part of working hard for schools so that students can learn and grow and become and obtain independence. When I started in my own career, instead of doing student teaching, I did what's called an internship. So I had my own class, and lots of funny things happened that year, and I will tell you one time when I have more than 10 minutes, but one of the students there was near and dear to my heart, and she would stay every day late. I was working late every day trying to figure out how to become a new teacher, and she would stay late, and of course I kept all the rules, opened the doors, other people were in the building, but I would go home at 5 or 6 o'clock at night, and I would say, you have to go home now, everything's getting locked up. And nobody came to look for her necessarily, and she would go. But I remember in wintertime she didn't have a coat, and my sister was near the same age at the time. I was a young 22-year-old teacher at the time, but my sister said, you can have this coat to give to her. It was kind of a puffy ski kind of coat, and she wore that coat every day, this student. Even in May, even when it warmed up, she wore that coat. I drove back to the school in the summertime and passed her on the street in the heat of the day, and she had the coat on. And something happened. My heart became sealed to public education. I'm here because of her. I'm here because of all of my students and yours, and all of the parents' children who are out there. I love the very beginning of our state's history of education. Just 3 years, roughly, after the Mormon pioneers settled Utah, they opened up a school in a home that was called the University of Deseret, and it was specifically to train teachers. Shout out to Dr. Haidt. And the teachers were to be trained to teach the children of the state. This is a picture of it here. It opened in 1850. When I was going back to my own career, an assistant principal at a high school, I had a student who had some disabilities and really sometimes struggled behaviorally, but I learned something about that student. If he could sleep for just a bit of time, then that would help with a reset. And anyway, I remember one particularly intense behavior interaction. This is a big student, and he was really kind of perseverating on an issue, and an altercation was starting, and I just said, please come and sleep right now. And he came in, and he laid down on in the nurses station on the bed, and he slept for an hour, and he woke up, and he was great. He had a great rest of his day. Things like that we need to learn about our students. Our teachers are doing this all the time, and our administrators, trying to find what works for kids. During that high school graduation, I had very little emotional interaction with this student. And he walked across that stage, and instead of shaking my hand, he picked me up and he swung me around in circles, and it was one of the best days of my life. I still remember it like it was yesterday. We have students just like that and others in our own high schools. I recently toured West High School. Here's a picture of West High School in its very early years. I just a couple of weeks ago went and spent, well, I guess it was in October, went and spent 2 hours there looking and studying the medical clinic they have there in partnership with the legislature and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the Utah University Pediatric Department. Anyway, it's a great program that a lot of public and private partners have put together to work there. But I love this picture of West High School.
I'm going to finish in person because it's probably driving people crazy looking at that sound being off of what I'm saying up there. But this picture is our very first public high school. It was called Salt Lake High School at the time, and now it's West High School. Again, it was built in 1891 and remains open to this day. Again, and this message really stems from the question that Member Carey asked me at one point, which is, what do you care about? Why are you here? What are you passionate about? What is so meaningful to you about being on this board? And I was thinking about also a time when I was a elementary school principal, and you have to really look across the board at students from a whole gamut of abilities, and we were the first school who had students working on podcasts based on the state core standards and using technology to really increase their understanding academically and excellence academically. And they worked with a project with NASA, and we just did a lot of things to try to stretch people academically. And so I'm here for them, for those students who are really excelling and those students who are striving and those students who are in between those. I remember also looking really hard at early literacy rates and looking at research about third grade reading levels and how third grade reading levels so much impact eighth grade success, and eighth grade success so much impacts high school graduation and college entrance and college success. It was really important to focus in hard on those skills as well. That same time when I was an elementary school principal, I remember a family that did not have a car. And so they had 3 students with special needs in our school. And so I took carloads of service providers and teachers to their home one morning to do IEPs. And we went into the house, and there were 3 kids and a baby, and they were sleeping on the floor in the front little part of this tiny house with a blanket. And as we worked through the IEPs, I also talked with the parents and worked with the parents, and we went to the kitchen, and there was no food. There was milk for the baby. And so we thought we were going there to do IEPs for special education to fill our requirements. And we walked away with 2 weeks left to Christmas, and our teachers were amazing, and they spent the next 2 weeks pulling together a mattress and blankets and food and a Christmas tree and things that were going to make a difference for this family. And again, my heart was sealed. My heart was sealed to our public schools, and that includes our district schools and our charter schools that are publicly funded, that can help these students come and learn and grow, whether they're academically far excelling on one side or striving on another side, and everywhere in between. When I was working in our district office, I used to audit, kind of staying on this special ed theme, folders and files. And I went and audited IEP folders at a school for special needs students. And when I was sitting there reading one of the files, the present level of performance, this is a school-aged child, the present level of performance was 2-month-old. There was a 2-month-old present level of performance. And the goals were things like reacting to light, responding to sound. These were the types of goals that our teachers were working on for these students. And little did I know while I was sitting there that 20 years later, I was going to have my first two grandbabies, twins, identical twin girls. And Kelsey, I don't know if you can scan through to the end of that video and find a picture of these babies, but our babies have they're a year and a half now, but they have a very rare genetic disorder. So rare, in fact, they're the only two in the United States that have this disorder. And we work with lots of doctors and lots of specialists. Right now, they're working with USDB, who comes to the home and helps with services for vision. And I'm so grateful for them. They may continue to go to school with USDB or maybe a school like Dan Peterson or one of our schools in the state for students that have very intensive services. But when you asked me, remember, Carrie, why are you here? I'm here for my kids and grandkids, but I'm here for your kids and grandkids. And if you can show Kelsey that picture of our family, you can see how much. This was just snapped a few days ago when we were watching Elf, which is our Christmas tradition when we decorate our Christmas tree. And these babies are our treasures, and your babies as parents are your treasures. And as a teacher, I felt like my students were also my treasures. And I know that we have things that we need to tackle and fix. It's not perfect. And I work with parents and families and teachers to try to help correct some things that need to be corrected so this can work for all of our families. But I will say, by and large, we have schools that are going to really make a difference in the lives of all of our kids. And though it is an imperfect system, without it, I believe our communities would be largely more imperfect. And so this is why I'm here. And I'm just so grateful to be here to participate in the work of the policy of education with all of you. So welcome today. Welcome again, visitors, and let's get to work.
Thank you very much, Member Davis. Let us turn to Kelsey James for the education highlight.
Thank you, Chair Moss. Kelsey James, Board Communications Coordinator. I am lucky to have some people to welcome up to the podium today. We have some guests with us from Davis School District. We have Austin Green, who is an administrative intern at Buffalo Point Elementary in Davis School District, along with Celia Nilsson. Celia Nilsson, who's a physics teacher at Farmington High School, and Angie Winger, who's a special education student teacher at Holt Elementary. So you have a lot of different disciplines and both the elementary and secondary level represented here. They are going to talk about their experience with a study abroad program and what they learned. So I will turn it over to them while I pull up the slides.
Well, good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to come and present before the board for this educational highlight. Like Kelty said, my name is Austin Green, and I currently work as an administrator at Buffalo Point Elementary in Davis School District. I have 15 years experience in education at the elementary, the secondary, and also at the college level as well. We kind of want to share our purpose of going on the study abroad with you to kind of prep you for this. But I went on the study abroad. We went to the countries of Finland, Sweden, and then Estonia. This picture here is our entire group, and in the background, that's actually the singing arena. It's in Tallinn in Estonia. But I went on the study abroad because I've heard so much about the international test scores, or PISA, and so that was my main reason, is to get in the classroom and see what they were doing in their classrooms that we could learn from.
You want to go next?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Angie, and I have been a paraeducator in a special ed classroom for the past 20 years, and I decided I want to be the teacher. So that's how I'm involved with Weber State, as I will graduate in April. So excited. And I decided I wanted to go because I love Europe, and I wanted to go to 3 new countries, and I wanted to see how Europe incorporated special ed in their systems. I'm also a mother of a child with special needs, so I wanted to see from a mother perspective and a school perspective on what they do with special ed over there.
I'm Celia Nilsson, and I've been in education for about 10 years now and teaching junior high, high school levels. And the thing that brought me to study abroad was about 2 years ago, about this time of year, I applied for a program through the STEM Action Center here called for the Secondary Educator Innovators. And so they helped to fund my master's program, and I was able to go on this study abroad as part of it. So it's just been amazing, a fun experience that we were able to be part of. Kelsey, you can go ahead and push that along. So as part of this program, we visited K through 12 schools. Couple of them, like 2, maybe 3 of them were secondary. Most of them were younger kids. And it was a neat experience. We did go to one university and got to see what that was like there. Their teachers there are required to have a master's degree, all of them, which was an interesting thing. And then as they're in the program for the master's program, they are subs for the current teachers. So they have a sub base of really good subs. And I thought, that's really cool. Go ahead. So one thing we noticed for sure is that these students are happy students. And I know it's kind of cliche to say that, but these schools in these Nordic countries, they start these kids young with a respect for their environment. They become kind of one with their environment, and they take care of it, and they clean up after themselves. They don't make messes, and they're happy to be outside. They're happy to partake and help and be part of the community. Go ahead and present. I was in a physics classroom here with this one, and the students were presenting on conservation and preservation. I sat through these presentations in my own classroom, and these kids were invested in it. They were talking about things that were happening half a mile from their home, about the nuclear reactors that were happening. I was sitting there with my little Google Translate trying to keep up with it all, but it was really fascinating to see how much these kids are invested in their curriculum to do preservation of their resources. And it is part of their curriculum, right along math, science, languages, all of those things, and then preservation of their curriculum, of their resources, natural resources. It's one of those core subjects that they are required to learn. You want to talk about this?
So this picture here is of their lunchroom, and as you can see, they're using non-plastic type things. It's a buffet style, and so when the students are eating lunch, something important to point out is it's all free. And so I know as districts, as a state board, you guys are really working hard on equity issues, and something that I was impressed with is that they've figured out a way to give free lunch to all their students, no questions asked. So they've removed that barrier for all their students, and this is at the elementary, this is at secondary, this is also at the university level. There is no cost for their food.
Can I say something about that too? What I thought was awesome is, as a SPED teacher, we are in the lunchrooms every day with our kiddos. So I see what goes on in the lunchroom, and there was like no food wasted here, which I thought was so impressive, because I see the garbages in my cafeteria are just so overfull with food. And so I thought that was impressive, that these kids, and they also would go back for seconds and thirds if they were still hungry, which I thought was fantastic too, because being in Title I school, our kiddos are always hungry. And so they were able to go back and get that food, and it wasn't thrown in the garbage. So I thought that was amazing.
All right, so we also got to visit some of their public spaces, their libraries, and places that a family might take their children. And this was amazing. These libraries are very impressive. The architecture is amazing. They have very, very relaxing spaces. They have sewing machines. They have table saws. And you can just go and work on a project and enjoy the library for an entire day. So I thought that was a really neat experience, and it's all public funded. So flexible seating was awesome. I work at Farmington High, which is like flexible seating everywhere. These guys knew how to do it. I think this is what we're trying to achieve with our flexible seating. I think, Angie, you wanted to say.
Also being in SPED, you know, we're kind of different. You know, we like the different setting. The regular chair and desk kind of don't fit with our kiddos. So I loved all this special seating. In fact, if you see the right one with the big green chair, those things on the right side, those green and blue things, those are chairs, and they're stuck to the wall. So the kiddos, if they need a different chair, they could go and grab that chair off the wall and sit down, and they were able to wiggle and move and anything that they felt like they needed to, and not just be like this in a chair.
Yeah, and when you entered the school, especially in the rural areas, there was a place for everyone to drop their shoes, even the teachers. So you take your shoes off and you keep them off the entire time. It gives it a more home-like atmosphere. And as you enter the hallways have classes happening in them. So the students are instantly respectful. As soon as they enter the school, they quietly take off their shoes, they put their bags away. And when they're walking down the hall, there might be a class happening, and then they'll make their way, like those late students that come in, or even at the beginning of the day. They're really respectful of moving around in the hallways. You can go ahead to the next slide on this one. One of the classes they taught, which I'm a physicist, so I really like this one, they taught handicraft. And I sat there for a minute going, why are they teaching these kids how to play with popsicle sticks and stuff? You know, it was like really big in their curriculum, and they were all very excited about their handicraft classes. And it wasn't until we attended a secondary school and I walked in and this kid's talking about his handicraft class and how they did a high altitude rocket project. And I was like, what? Wait, hold on, you tell me all about it. So he was really happy to show me the pictures. You can see it hanging in the middle picture there. But I'm like, this handicraft, and I told them, I said, you guys translated this wrong. This is engineering. You guys are doing engineering from day one, and they're doing it as in their pre-kindergarten and their kindergarten, I mean, they do it all the way up, and it's a big part of their curriculum. And so I was really excited and happy to see that. So the after-school programs are amazing. The kids can stay as long as they need to. The parents have to sign up for it. It's a funded program. But they can stay, and there's teachers that teach or are there for them. They spend a lot of time outside. They're making bug houses here, which is pretty fun. So, Kelsey. And then this is the part I wanted to pause on. I think everybody had a comment on this one. Every school we went into, every open space, everything we saw, there was music and art everywhere. Even the boring classes, the language classes, they were decorated with music and art. I know, right? Oh, okay, sorry. I'm a scientist, language. So, speaking of that, the kids all have language classes. They have a lot of refugees and many, talk melting pot of the European area. There's so many languages spoken in that area that the challenges for different languages at the school are tremendous. And so the way they work these kids through a language program, they take 2 or 3 language classes all the way through school. And so language arts, it's good. But yeah, the music and the art was everywhere. They had pianos sitting out in waiting areas. The kids could just play on them if they wanted to. Instruments out at lunchtime. We sat and watched a rock band play for a little bit during lunch. They were allowed to go into the music room and play with those tools during free time. You want to add to that at all? Okay.
I do. I want to say something because I think of SPED. That's where my mind goes. So if a child was very frustrated or having kind of a bad day in their class, they were able to leave and go out in the hallway and just kind of like play with an instrument to kind of regroup, get back on track, spend a couple minutes out there, and then go back to class, which I thought was fantastic. They gave him that out so he or she could then focus.
Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for allowing us to come and share this journey, especially to the STEM Action Center here that helped me along that journey, because I never would have been there without that. But I'll let Austin finish us up.
Okay, so this is a school. It was above the entrance of a school that we would walk into, and all of us were stopped at this, and they paid particular attention to this clock. And so it's written in Estonian, but it basically translates to achieving your goals takes time. And so each of us has a specific goal in going on this study abroad, but we also know as board members, board members, there's many things, goals and dreams that you're working on that are really, really heavy. And so we just want to tell you thank you. We know some of these things take time, and we really appreciate the opportunity to be here today. We know you have a very busy day, long day. And so just thank you for the opportunity to be here today, present this to you. Do you want to say anything?
I just want to say thank you as well, because I think it's pretty awesome for you guys to want to hear our amazing story we had in our study abroad. And education is all about adapting. Regular ed special, that's all about adapting. What can we do better if we fail at this one? Oh, let's gear back and see what can we do better for next time. So I appreciate this opportunity, and I hope what we say you enjoyed.
Thank you. And before we send you off with a thank you, we always get to grill our guests because you're the most That's you're frankly the most fun part of our day is to hear what you're doing down there in the trenches and then getting outside the trenches and learning from these other countries. So I want to open it up to board member questions and comments. I've got one, but Member Wood.
I'm just wondering about class sizes. I mean, there's a lot of innovation going, but how many students per class did you see?
I sat through a couple high school classes, and they were pretty typical to what I see, but obviously in the 20s, not in the 30s. But yeah, they were smaller. They're kitchen, home ec classes, I don't know what they call them. They were smaller. Like I think we said 6 or 8 students in that class. Yeah.
Thank you. Member Straight, is that your light? Yeah.
Yes, you mentioned all the different things you learned and experienced. Is there anything you've been able to already implement to some degree since you've returned home?
I can comment on that. I'll let someone else answer the next one. I definitely was so impressed by the art thing. I teach astronomy, and one of my units is art-based. And we're actually just starting the unit right now. I'm super excited. But the kids make a really nice pastel image of a surface feature. And I'm like, this year, I'm putting these pictures up everywhere. I'm not just going to put them in front of our classroom. I'm going to put them up by the front office. I'm going to put them by the counseling center. I'm going to put them everywhere. Because I think it's a huge thing to walk into a place and feel that fun, hominess. And I don't know, it's just neat to see what other students are doing. So, anything you want to say?
I can comment on that too. So we have our kiddos. We have 12 kiddos in my classroom, and I've incorporated art every single week because art's such a great way for our kiddos to learn. And so we display their art now in the hallways so all the other kiddos can see. And it's awesome because the regular kiddos are making comments about our special ed kiddos and like, oh, they can do that. Yes, they most certainly can. So that's awesome to incorporate that. And it also makes the hallways feel like we're in elementary school.
And so I will share that I work at an immersion school. It's a Spanish immersion school, and it was pointed out earlier that when we went there, all the students are required to learn 3 languages. And so, of course, their native language, and then they start with usually a neighboring language, and then there's one beyond that they have to show proficiency when they get to high school. And so I think being at an immersion school, it's kind of given me a new, fresh perspective on how important learning those languages are. So in my conversations, I've had several conversations about how important it is to have those immersion type experiences.
Thank you. We're not done with you. Member Booth, Member Lear.
Any takeaways on why their scores are what they are in the testing that takes place? Is it a combination of all, the outdoors and the arts and the use of the facilities and the respect? What was your takeaway in terms of, or anything that you learned from educators there that they're doing that is making a difference in mastery of the content areas?
Yeah, I can start. Well, anyway. As a scientist, I look at numbers a lot, and I look at what causes the scores they're getting, and I'm looking at what causes the scores we're getting. I'm looking at the student bases they're testing and the student bases we're testing. And I recognize that it's an unfair comparison to compare our scores with their scores, because their student base is different from our student base in a lot of different ways. However, the students that are successful are doing, I think for number one, I think it's the language. I think the fact that they've had to learn 3 different languages, it's requiring their brain to think in a way that turns them into natural learners. That combined with their outdoor environment, I think that's a huge part of it too. They spend a lot of time outdoors exploring, becoming one with nature, and allowing the brain to just, imagination, that's what it is in science, is working on those wonders and building on those wonders, like building the bug houses with the little kids. And it's just not something you see a lot of in school, maybe here, because we're just so set to try and get through our curriculum by the end of the year. So that was interesting. Do you want to say anything?
That was the part I was going to bring up, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Thank you. Member Lear?
I've heard from many people that teachers are held in higher esteem, and specifically the Scandinavian countries, and especially Finland. And I just wondered if you saw evidence of that, or what you, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I just wondered if you actually experienced that or noted that when you were there.
well, I'm not sure if it was noted earlier, but let's bring it up now. So all the teachers there are required to have a master's degree. That is a requirement. And so at that level of expertise, there's a certain standard that they hold their teachers to, that they need to meet. And that's seen kind of in those public spaces as well. But I think it's important to note that the schools there are, everyone is welcome. Everyone wants to be. It doesn't matter if they're at this school down the street or at this school. All the schools are good schools, because all the schools hire those professionals at a master's level, and they have training at that level. And so there's an attitude there that no matter what school that I send my child to, I know that they're going to be taken care of.
And you want to say something?
Go ahead.
To answer that question too, I also saw teachers are highly regarded as like doctors and lawyers, and they've been taught that from an early age, and everybody has respect for the education, which I thought was phenomenal, because I think that's the trick, is they're taught that at home, they're taught that that respect factor, and so it goes into the school, and so that's just what they know. And so I didn't see any like arguing, or like the parents were right over the teachers. It was just the whole respect factor, and it was just amazing to see that they all work together as a team.
Well, thank you. They covered my questions, so thank you very much. This is inspiring and insightful, and appreciate all your great work and bringing us the results of your wanderings and exploration. So thank you very much for joining us. Back to you, or is that wrap it? Okay, thank you, Kelsey. And I just want to say thank you, Kelsey, for always tracking down these great examples for us and great reports from the field, from the trenches. So thank you as always. Let's go to our employee recognition then. Who's got that, Superintendent?
Me, yes. If we can get this slide up, here we go. You know, I'm always excited about sharing our Employees of the Month with you, but this is a really special month. So I'm going to ask Kathy to come to the front of the room. All right. So Miss Kathy Webb, I think I have known for decades, dare I say, Kathy. Kathy, for years, was recognized as an employee in districts and wherever she was as an innovator. And that continues today. So Kathy, what year is this of your employment?
35 in public education since 2007 here at the. Can you turn on your?
Okay, so 35 years as an educator.
Mm-hmm.
And from that moment that Kathy entered the classroom, she has just been an innovator, and for a long time was recognized as kind of the tech phenom, really forward thinking, and started Electronic High School all those years ago. So things that were given to her, like, oh, here's an idea, Kathy just figures it out. And so she is being recognized by her peers today as Employee of the Month for doing something that I'm starting to hear about around the country, of people coming to me and saying, you have this amazing program for training special education teachers called Apple. Tell me all about it. This is so innovative. And I think Kim Fratto told me that we have 500 teachers now in the program. And it's something that is in our office that we developed, that we are supporting. And this is Kathy Webb, who figured out how to make it happen. There's a little bit of technology, a lot of technology involved, a lot of wisdom, a lot of support from peers in the field, and a lot of magic. That's what I've been told. There's a lot of magic. So here's some things that have been said about her as a person. And when we were having our fun brag fest with her, celebrating her, we talked a little bit about the Apple program, but we mostly, like 95% of it was just how awesome Kathy is as a person. So here's some things that were said about her. She's an innovative leader, often a lone female in a world of men in tech. And I can think back in the early days of technology when truly she was the only female in the room having the conversation. She has paved the way for so many women in ed tech, including many here today and in this room. Just raise your hands with jazz hands if she has affected you as a woman leader, especially in tech. Look at all that. See? That is amazing. She's an affirming and a patient leader, a mentor to many, and helps give people confidence. She looks for elegant solutions. I've heard that about her so many times. She is the tech wizard and the tech giant. Before there was Khan Academy, there was Kathy Academy, and that was our Electronic High School. She sometimes stands in the middle as a translator between the technology and people trying to use the technology. And then there were just so many lovely things said about Kathy. She's a woman of grace, kindness, empathy, just so super patient with all of us as we've tried to pave our way through the world of technology. But the smile that you see on her is always there. I've known her for so long, and it's rare to see her get down or frustrated. She's just super positive. But so many times I heard people say that Kathy is magical, that she is a wizard. All those things come into play. And you put that on top of this lovely, lovely human being, and it's Kathy Webb. Now, Kathy is retiring after an amazing career. So tomorrow we get to celebrate her with an open house at 3 o'clock here in our building. But today we are going to celebrate our magician and our wizard. And Kathy, you have the distinction of being the only one who has received a wand. So I introduce to you Kathy Webb, our Employee of the Month.
Thank you. Can I take one moment to?
I was going to ask you to, so yes, thanks for volunteering.
I feel emotional today also, but thank you so very much. And it's been, I'm grateful for the privilege I have to serve in public education and work with so many capable and caring people. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Why don't we take a 5-minute break, and we will, no, I'm sorry, public comment, then a break. Psych.